John. How are you? It's nice to having you in Argentina again.
Wow, thank you.
I want to ask you about this new play. It blends together literary text, acting, live music. How does this project was born? It's a very interesting mix of arts.
Well, I've worked, spent a good deal of time for around the last 20 years doing classical music collaborations of one kind or another. They can be more plays with music, more operas with theater, more theater with music, or more like this piece, which is simply music and prose and the combination of the two. It's not theater, really, plays in theater. It is the recounting of a story or legend called the infamous Ramirez Hoffman. It is the last character in a book by the great Chilean writer Roberto Bolaño called Nazi Literature in the Americas, which is essentially a novella of about 243 pages or so in English, which is essentially 40 fake obituaries of fake Nazis who never existed, all of whom have idiotic literary obsessions. Essentially, not wholly idiotic, but often, or let's say, fanciful literary obsessions, and who kind of waste their lives in one way or the other with these literary obsessions and with their Nazi ideology, essentially. That's what the book is about. And Ramirez Hoffman is, I think, the most interesting, compelling, and tragic of those characters, I would say. And it's mixed with the music. I don't know. I just felt because a lot of the characters in the book, Nazi literature, were in South America, in Argentina, in Paraguay, in Chile, in Uruguay, in Brazil, etc. And tango seemed a kind of perfect match for a perfect opposites attract, meaning this book is by and large about wasted talent, even wasted visionary talent. And tango is kind of the opposite of that. It's not wasted. It can be dreamy, it can be driven, it can be reflective. It can be very passionate, and it's a thing of great beauty, but what it isn't is a waste. It's not a waste. It is a full expression of something. And this character is a waste. He is a testament to what shouldn't have been done and a testament to a complete waste of a gift of
Yeah.
expression.
And well, you mentioned tango. It's an important part of the show. And do you like tango? Do you listen to that music? What kind of artists do you like of tango?
Well, this has, I mean, I was probably the first time I was really aware of tango was actually, of course, I'd heard some before, but was really Gato Barbieri's
Yes. Yeah.
last tango when I was 19 years old or so, which is a spectacular score and so evocative and made the whole movie Last Tango in Paris. I mean, without it, I'm not sure that any little bit of it holds up personally. I don't think it does. And this features quite heavily Piazzolla and Desyatnikov, the modern Soviet Russian, but starting in the Soviet era and still composing away quite beautifully today. They are the two main tango people featured. There's also a lot of other, mostly modern classical music, not all, because there's also von Westhoff and Vivaldi. And there's some great modern classical music from Max Richter and Fasose and Auerbach and Solima and just forgetting the Russian, Akunov, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Some great music, but tango kind of sets a tone, this kind of tone of loss, of this, what we call in English a kind of elegiac, meaning like a
Yes.
eulogy. You could call it uh, a funeral of talent. Let's say the piece Nazi literature in the Americas. It's a talent funeral. And there's something about tango so dreamy and so potential and promising such beauty and fulfillment and literally, as per Piazzolla, oblivion. But this isn't the oblivion one imagines, you know.
It's right. And Juan, how do you feel about doing this play in Buenos Aires, where this is the home of tango,
Sure.
and with the South American, very South American topic, the
Yes.
Bolaño literature. It's how do you feel about that? Because it's like the perfect, maybe it's the perfect scene to play this.
Well,
How?
I'm surprised somebody else didn't think of it 30 or 40 years ago. People ask me why I'm interested in South America. I think it's a bizarre question, sort of, but why wouldn't I be? But such kind of history and culture and literature. I mean, Marquez, Sabato, Llosa, Bolaño, and many, many others. Incredible music in Brazil, Argentina, Chile. I mean, why not? I don't feel, I mean, of course, it's weird to go to a place where nobody ever made a piece from Sabato. Uh, it's a, I kind of go, why? It's so evocative, so crazily evocative. Same for Bolaño. It's so crazily evocative. Why not? When I come, I always hope to learn a lot, to hear what people say about this, that, or the other. Like my colleague who was supposed to join us, but we had somebody had given me the wrong times because I'm in New Orleans and said it was the same start time as yesterday, the interviews, which was 10 a.m. Pacific time. But I'm not on Pacific time, on Central time. So yesterday we started at noon, as was said. 10 Pacific time is noon here. I'm here, not in California. I don't live in California. So she was going to be with us, but she isn't. The other day, she sent me a text that she was thinking about including in the program to get my feelings about it. I said, well, for me, it's inoffensive. I mean, it kind of explains, I guess, some version of what this could be about or what we're trying to do or et cetera, et cetera. I'm not very interested in that. But personally, I don't think there's anything difficult to understand. I don't think there's anything difficult to understand in all of Sabato. Um, the character in that part of On Heroes and Tombs believes that the blind rule the world, and they do, just not the blind he means. Um, but he's 100% correct, even though he's a lazy, paranoiac, sociopathic, fantastical lunatic. He is correct that the blind rule the world. It's just he picked the wrong blind. So to me, to come to South America, of course, is an honor to do it here. Um, and and for me, a learning experience, a work in progress, be interested to hear. I don't think it's difficult to understand in any way. Sabato and Bolaño were among the cleanest, clearest, most crystalline writers of prose in modern history, in my opinion. But maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. But
No.
I don't think there's particularly anything to understand. It's about experiencing. To me, it's a piece about what is the cost of things? What is the human cost of things? of belief, of ideology, of cruelty to others, of murder, of et cetera, which is throughout human history and will carry on long after I'm gone and you're gone and anybody we know is gone, even babies, it'll carry on long after us. The question kind of, is it wise and at what cost? And I think that's very innate, inherent in Bolaño's writing and very inherent in the music of this piece, which describes waste and loss.
And Sean, when you visited Buenos Aires before, what do you like the most of the city?
It's kind of beautiful and sad. There's something very melancholic, you know. It's like tango comes out of the sidewalk. Or it's I usually find it quite melancholic. And I like to go to the cemetery, which isn't something I would do necessarily by nature or by a habit. It's very reflective of the human condition.
Wow, interesting. And what about the food and wine?
Fantastic. It's great.
Uh,
I don't really drink much wine anymore, but had some great Argentinian wine over the years, certainly. And there and in Mendoza, and where we played also. We're not doing it this time, I gather, but we did report on the blind there. And it'll be a homecoming for our bandoneon player who's Argentinian, so that'll be nice. But for me, it's really to get a sense of how Argentinians feel about this particular history, which they've lived a version of, and which a lot of countries in South America have lived a version of, and hear what they think about the piece and about its clarity and message and its strengths or weaknesses. Every piece is a work in progress, and so it'd be very interesting to be in Argentina, and we do Brazil and in Chile also. So where I just spent a good part of last year in Chile, so be very interesting there as well.
that's interesting, Sean, because well, you will find that South America, we have a lot of difference between each country and each culture, but we have many things in common. Well, what is there any place that you find most interesting or more, that inspiring for you of South America or Argentina in particular for this piece
Well,
and other things you made?
yeah, no, I'd have to know it better than I do because, I work so much that I just end up going mostly to the big cities and I don't get out enough. I've never been, my wife has kind of distant cousins in Cordoba, who emigrated from Italy at the turn of this century, I think. There are many places I'd like to get to all around South America, but that has to be on a really non-working trip because this is kind of a few days here, a few days there. You always have to rehearse, you always have to check the space. You're busy all the time, so I never really get to do. I mean, I got to go around Santiago and see the things that interest me. I was making a film down there this spring because I had a few days off and stuff. But, countries, I've had a house in France for 30 years. I still don't think I know much about France.
It's a big country, but and there is a city in the world where you travel a lot, you live and work in many cities. Is there any place that you find inspiration or you like to return always, physically or emotionally?
Rome, Porto, Vienna, probably the most cities of kind of lost empires. I like Mexico City a lot too. Even though generally it's not what I would like, so huge and so noisy and so chaotic and so etc. Lisbon also I like. I mean, it's much happier than Porto. It's kind of like Porto is kind of like the dark twin, or not the city of light, the city of dark in a way, but quite
And
quite beautiful.
what about experiences like restaurants or food? There's some places. What kind of places do you think that are reminds you like I don't know, a cinematic scene, something like that, that you say this is like being in a movie or in a
Yeah.
stage?
I don't know. I went to nice place. I don't remember the name in Buenos Aires, Santiago as well. Um, I don't know if you know what's funny. Things don't remind me of movies much. I don't really think about movies much. They can remind me of a certain kind of history, like say the old, La Coupole or some brasserie in Paris or something like that, Brasserie Lippe or what have you. I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't really associate real life with movies much. Um,
It's
like,
okay.
you know, when I did a film, I directed one film called The Dancer Upstairs, and I use Porto for South America, and kind of in a way Porto for Lima, because I thought Porto was much more like the South America of my dreams, uh, than Lima. Buenos Aires is different to that, of course, and as well, Santiago, I would say, is different to that. But there is something kind of dreamy about Porto, kind of darkly so, that I didn't necessarily find in Lima, which is where it could have been set in a way.
I know we have to finish. Just one short question is like, well, you're doing theater, reading, wine. You had a level wine. In a time that everything is immediately fast. Do you think that that kind of things that are time consuming are a form of resistance?
I don't think of it that way. I mean, I understand the question and I can see that, but I think it's important to be. I don't have really any talent to speak of. If I have a talent, it's that I am where it's being where I am, doing what I'm doing. So whatever I do, that's what I'm doing at that time. I can't do it for huge, long 5-year periods. I can't make a painting on this wall. I'm too old. But I can be where I am and do what I'm doing. And I think that's in a way rare.
Yes.
People can't seem to do what they're doing much anymore.
It's
They're
true.
somewhere else doing something else and not where they are, it seems.
Yes, it's true. So much true. So, well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Well, we look forward to have you here in a month.
Thank
Yes,
you.
in a month. Okay. So,
Yeah,
well, it was a pleasure for me to talk with
my
you
pleasure. My pleasure.
so much.